Welcome, foolish mortals, and welcome back to another episode of the Disney Newsreel. So today we have 4 stories picked out for you. A couple of them are not so good. Anna hasn't seen any of them again because she usually doesn't. I'm usually the one picking them out. So a couple of them are not so good. I'm going to end on a bit of a high note because that's the way that I like to do things. I'd rather leave it on a positive note. So at the very least, we'll have one positive story to end it on. So before we get into this, make sure if you are not subscribed to the channel, you hit that subscribe button down below. And also make sure to leave us a like and a comment down below and let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you think about these news stories. So the first story we have is another one that took place in the animal kingdom. Kind of like our LSD one that we had last week.
Oh, great.
And yeah. So a reality TV personality arrested for punching a cast member after making COVID-19 joke at Walt Disney World. So what has happened is this TV personality, it's Spectacular Blue Smith of Love and Hip Hop Miami. So he's, reality. We don't watch reality shows from those, but you have like 2 that you watch. So he was in line for, and it says an undisclosed attraction. They don't want to say what ride he was at, because a lot of their cast members will work the same ride periodically, and I think they're also trying to protect the cast member, their identity and stuff. So he was in line for an undisclosed attraction, and he made a sneezing gesture and said coronavirus. And a nearby cast member essentially told him the gesture wasn't funny, to which he replied, "I thought it was." And then the cast member's response to that was to tell him, "Okay, you need to leave." Mm-hmm. And he refused. The cast member asked him to leave twice. And Smith, this guy, kept refusing. And then when the cast member tried to block him from walking further into the line, he punched the cast member twice in the face. Once on the right side of his jaw, and then the right temple area. So he literally just reeled back and punched him twice in the head. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, and he suffered a concussion, and he had been taken to the hospital as a precaution, where they found out he suffered a concussion, and the TV personality was facing a misdemeanor battery charge for the incident, and has since posted bond. So he's like, nothing's going to happen to him. I can tell you that much. Not when you have as much money as he probably does.
They'll probably settle, but why do people think that they can just be jerks?
I don't know. I've been wondering that for years.
I just don't...
Oh, I know. I
don't get it.
So yeah,
I feel bad for that cast member.
And the amount of stories like this that have come out this year is just mind-boggling. Because I feel like this type of thing doesn't happen as often, and then all of a sudden this year, everybody's just going crazy. And you can blame the quarantine and the pandemic all you want, but it still boils down to you being a jerk.
I was gonna say, these people were just a jerk. This is just an excuse.
Yes. So, all right, moving on from that. The second story that's gonna make Anna not so happy.
No, wait a second. Now I'm scared. No.
So this is a story about the DuckTales reboot. So DuckTales reboot is in its 3rd season? Going into its 3rd season. It's in its 3rd season.
I think so.
Yes. And the 3rd season is... Yeah. DuckTales reportedly canceled at Disney XD, possibly affecting World Showcase Adventure Game at Epcot.
Oh, but it's so good.
It is really good. But you gotta remember, the original show also was only 3 seasons. It only lasted 3 years, too. It was from 87 to 90. So, this was originally based on a tweet from another guy who's generally been a reliable source for things like this. And I didn't know this, but DuckTales originally rebooted on Disney XD, and then for the 2nd season was moved over to the Disney Channel, and then for the 3rd season has moved back over to Disney XD. It's just all sorts of wonky.
It's because they can't figure out where it really belongs.
Yeah. But I guess the offices where the creative team behind DuckTales has been working have all been shuttered. Essentially, there's been nobody in them for quite a while. And like all of the actual like pre-production stuff is done. All of the voice recording, the voice acting, all that stuff is done. They're just in the editing phase for all of it now, in the animation phase. And so, well, I think they've got most of that done too. But so yeah, they are canceling that. And I don't know if it has it. Yeah. So, and I didn't know this because we haven't watched the rest of it. But Darkwing Duck actually made an appearance. He actually showed up. They are rebooting Darkwing Duck, which I didn't know.
Okay, I mean, like, I get it. Cool, Darkwing Duck. But why would they cancel
I don't know.
the show that it stems from and then reboot the freaking spinoff?
I don't know. And nothing in this article, and at the time that this first article was originally written, Disney hadn't confirmed it. Yeah. But then pretty soon after that, Disney XD, this next article here was an update. Disney XD issues statement confirming DuckTales series cancellation after season 3. So there's about 75 episodes in the first 3 seasons.
I just don't...
Yeah, I don't know why. But yeah, literally the statement from the Disney XD spokesperson was a creative team led by Matt Youngberg and Francisco Angones, something like that, have delivered exceptional storytelling with uniquely reimagined characters for 3 seasons of 75 episodes and more than 15 shorts. While physical production has wrapped, DuckTales continues to be available on Disney channels and Disney Plus around the world, and fans will get an epic season finale in 2021.
I don't want a season finale.
So, and then this is where I found that Duck fans everywhere can still look forward to the upcoming Darkwing Duck reboot in the works for Disney Plus. So it's going to be a straight to Disney Plus.
Why don't they just move DuckTales to Disney Plus?
I don't know, and I'm wondering if they're using the same creative team to do the Darkwing Duck reboot, and maybe that's part of the reason that they canceled DuckTales. Like, like, did they finish? Because we're not caught up on DuckTales. It's like, did they really like finish the story that they were going for with DuckTales, and so that's why they canceled it? Or like, I don't know, because there's nothing about it other than just Disney XD confirming, yeah, it's being canceled. But there's really no word about whether it's going to affect the DuckTales, what was it called? Disney's DuckTales World Showcase adventure game. There's really nothing about that, because by the time the Kim Possible one came out and started in Epcot, I don't remember what that one was called, but by the time the Kim Possible one came to Epcot, Kim Possible had been off the air for almost a year by the time that started. And the same with Phineas and Ferb. I think it didn't come to Epcot until afterwards, or like right at the end.
I was going to say, Phineas and Ferb was still airing when Agent P went through,
Gotcha.
But
it's like, I don't think that's going to make a difference.
I don't think it will, but it's just like, it's going to be one of those things that becomes instantly outdated. Mm-hmm. So why would they do that?
Yeah. I don't know.
A bunch of dummies.
So yeah, Disney's DuckTales is being canceled. So
I'm just so...
I know, it's very upsetting.
I can see that headline.
Mm-hmm. Which I already knew about this. This next one is Bob Iger leaving Disney completely in December 2021. Considered running for president, now wants a role in Biden administration. And this one didn't come as a surprise to me because Anna hasn't read Bob Iger's book, Ride of a Lifetime. And in there he talked about how his original retirement date was supposed to be in, I think it was supposed to be December of this year, I believe, or maybe it was 2019. It was one of the two.
So that he could run? No,
that's just when he was planning on retiring. And then he pushed his retirement date out to December of 2021 because of some of the bigger things that were in the works that he didn't want to leave right in the middle of. Like Galaxy's Edge and like just all sorts of different big things, like
there's a lot.
The buying of Fox when Fox approached him, and just all sorts of things. He was like, you know what, I'll give it until 2021. So I already knew he was gonna leave. I thought it might change a little bit when he stepped down as CEO and just decided to stay on the board. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't sure if that was going to change anything, but it didn't. Yeah. He was still planning on retiring. And he has said in an interview, that's what this article is about, he said in an interview, essentially that he would consider taking a role in the Biden administration if it was like the right role for him, if it was something that he felt strongly about, that he wanted to do, and things like that. And if you read Bob Iger's book, he did at one point talk in there about how he had considered running for president after the 2016 election. He had considered running for the 2020 election, and then decided against it. Like, he did a lot of research into it.
Gotcha.
And I mean, because his job is politics. That being a CEO of a company is politics. You can step straight over from there, which is why Donald Trump was able to step over into a presidency, was because essentially he was already doing that.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
So I'm really upset because that means that
now we're just left with Lex Luthor.
I was just gonna say Lexi Poo is gonna have to run it.
Yep. So now, and he even said, I don't remember if it shows in here, but at one point he actually talked about how his whole intention was staying with Disney for a little bit longer after he stepped down as CEO, was to essentially be there for Bob Chapek to help kind of slowly wean him into being a good CEO. And I don't know, in the 5-year, it was back in 2015, at the bottom of this you can see the related article from 2015 where Bob Chapek was named chairman of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. And as near as we've been able to tell from our research and from our experience is
He's
that
hot garbage.
after 2015, the parks started not performing so well. And it's not been until he was then moved to a different position and Josh D'Amaro was put into it that they started doing better. So I don't know. Maybe he'll be better at the politics side of it, and he just wasn't a good fit for the parks role. I don't know. Like, he could be a great CEO. It could happen. Like, but he could also be completely awful. We don't know him.
I'm not optimistic.
You don't have to be. You're never optimistic about anything. I don't know why that's news to anyone.
Why is Disney making such terrible decisions?
I mean, Disney's just a company. So Bob Iger will be leaving at the end of 2021. All right, and the final story, this better story, is Disney character pop-up experiences happening later this month at Walt Disney World Resort hotels. And they normally have some special holiday like character things go on at some of the resorts, and nobody was sure if they were going to happen this year because of the pandemic and everything. But coming later this month, Disney characters will be returning to the resorts just in time for the holidays. And so I think it's down. Where is it? The characters will take place as part of pop-up adventures. The characters themselves will arrive in customized RVs at randomized times throughout the day and will greet guests from socially distanced locations. And so it's because, I mean, they haven't really been able to do character things at the resorts since the pandemic.
They haven't done any. So, like, because this is supposed to be like a meet and greet esque thing. They haven't been doing any of that since March.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just been the cavalcades,
which are like just.
They just walk by and you can take pictures of them.
Yeah.
They'll sometimes slow down to let people take pictures and
but that's
stuff like
really
that. But that's all you can do.
And it's all randomized because they don't want you staking out a spot and waiting in crowds and stuff like that.
Yep. But I think it is an optimistic look at
maybe things are getting.
Maybe things starting to get a little better.
Like I want to say that, like I really do, but then I look at everything around me and I say it's really not.
No. Really, and it's not and this isn't a measure of like how things are getting better. It's just a matter of like essentially Disney's testing different ways to still be able to offer some of those experiences to make it feel a little more normal.
That magic,
while still being safe and still doing the social distancing and still enforcing all that the pandemic stuff and all of that stuff. That's essentially what it is, but they're trying to help it feel a little more normal than it is, because they know that it's going to be quite a while before it feels normal. Even if the pandemic were to end at the end of December and January comes and the pandemic was over, it would still take at least 6 months to another year for things to actually feel normal again.
Yes.
So
and get everything back, since they laid off half of their employees.
Yep, that number went up to 30,000 now from 28,000.
I know. Oh, I know.
But, yeah. So, figured we'd leave it on a more positive story this week with some character stuff coming back to the resorts, which is actually pretty exciting.
There's too much bad news in this.
There's a lot of bad news in this one.
Way too much bad news. I'm just not... Nope. My mood is... down the drain.
There you go. So yeah, that's it for the news this week. So thank you all for joining us this week, and we hope that we will see you all again next week. But until then, don't forget to thank the Phoenicians.